How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji. Welcome to another episode of Chair Talk. Guys, I know there's a lot of rookies at that turning point where they're either going to remain in the profession or maybe the profession's a bit overwhelming and they're looking to step out. I'm going to read an article that I wrote, and I'm hoping that this helps motivate you to stay in the profession if it's what you want to do. The last thing I want is for self-doubt, especially during times when you're expected to have self-doubt, push you out of this profession. So again, the title of the article I'm going to read is Rookie's Confidence, the Rise, Fall, and Growth in the First Few Months. So the first time you step inside a correctional facility as an officer, there's a rush of emotions, excitement, nervousness, maybe even a little pride. You spent months in the academy preparing for this moment, and now it's here. Your uniform is crisp, your badge is polished, you stand tall, ready to take control. But then the door slides shut behind you, and in that instant, something shifts. The energy of the place is different from what you expected. The inmates don't acknowledge you the way you thought they would. Some watch you with curiosity, others completely ignore your presence, and a few seem amused, like they've seen rookies just like you before. And they have. That's when it starts, the slow sink-in realization that confidence isn't something you can wear. It's something you have to earn. So in those first few weeks, you try to settle in. If you came in feeling overconfident, that illusion gets shattered pretty quickly. The first time an inmate openly challenges you, your instinct is to push back hard to remind them that you're the authority here. But instead of backing down, they smirk. They know you're new, and they know you don't have control yet. If you came in feeling nervous, the fear only grows. Every time you hesitate before speaking, every time you fumble your words, every time you let something slide because you're afraid to escalate, it adds to the doubt. Inmates notice, fellow officers notice, you notice. And suddenly, you don't feel like a correctional officer anymore. You feel like an imposter. And then comes the first big mistake. Maybe you forget to secure a door. Maybe you hesitate too long before stepping into a situation. Maybe an inmate manipulates you into bending a rule you shouldn't have. And when you realize what you've done, when a veteran officer calls you out for it, or you see that knowing grin on an inmate's face, you feel sick to your stomach. This is when rookies hit their breaking point. That moment when you go home, sit in silence, and ask yourself, am I cut out for this? Because for the first time in your life, you're in a place where confidence isn't optional. You either develop it or you get eaten alive. And at this moment, it's not looking good. But then something changes, and it doesn't happen overnight. At first, it's just a flicker, a moment that feels different. Maybe you catch an inmate's subtle behavior shifts right before they act up, something you wouldn't have noticed before. Maybe you predict an escalation before it happens and step in early enough to prevent it. Maybe for the first time you give an order and you don't flinch when an inmate challenges it. And this time, they actually listen. That's when you realize the job hasn't gotten easier. You've gotten better. You're not overthinking every decision anymore. You're not constantly looking around for someone else to step in. You just do the job. This isn't confidence born out of arrogance. This is confidence built on experience. You no longer feel the need to prove you belong because deep down, you finally know that you do. Not every rookie makes it to this turning point. Some never recover from self-doubt. Others try too hard to force authority and make things worse. And sometimes it's not even about the individual rookie. It's about the environment they're in. Mentorship matters. A rookie with a good mentor will grow faster, learning from their mistakes without feeling like a failure. And a rookie with a good mentor, as opposed to being stuck with toxic officers where there's no guidance at all, they just never get a chance to build the confidence that they need. That's why you need that good mentor. Also, how you handle mistakes. If you treat every mistake as proof that you don't belong, you'll never grow. If you treat mistakes as lessons, You'll get stronger with every shift. And then there's that ability to push through the self-doubt. There'll be moments where you want to quit, but the ones who make it aren't necessarily the best. They're just the ones who didn't give up. So if you're a rookie, again, if you're a rookie correctional officer right now, sitting at home after a hard shift, questioning if you belong here, I want you to hear this. Every veteran officer you respect has felt exactly what you're feeling. You're not the only one struggling, and you're not alone in this. Confidence isn't something you're supposed to have on day one. It's something you earn, shift by shift, mistake by mistake, lesson by lesson. And one day, sooner than you think, you're going to step into that tier and feel different. You won't be overthinking every decision. You won't be looking around, waiting for backup. You'll walk with purpose, with authority, not because you're pretending anymore, but because you are that officer now. You belong here. And the moment you believe that, that's when you realize you made it. Guys, I want to give you some key insight here on certain parts that I just read through. So there's the breaking point. And the key lessons from the breaking point is I want you guys to remember that confidence isn't about what you know. It's about how you react when things go wrong. Every officer has felt like they weren't cut out for the job at some point. The ones who make it are the ones who don't let that doubt stop them. And hesitation is worse than making the wrong call. Inmates test rookies to see if they can be pushed, and if you second guess yourself too often, you become a target. For the turning point, when you make that turning point, when you make that decision to stay, I want you to take note of these key insights. Confidence is the result of experience. The more situations you handle, the more instinctive your responses become. Failure and success should be partnered together because you learn from both. Authority isn't about aggression or intimidation. It's about consistency, self-control, and presence. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be steady. Inmates respect officers who are professionally predictable, not those who overreact. I hope this works. I'm going to try to do a discussion with Joe and Russ and really break down this process. I think it's a process that could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to really start to understand what that role is. And I know there's a lot of rookies at that turning point that they're just so overwhelmed that they wind up filling themselves with doubt. And then they wind up acting on that doubt and leaving the profession because maybe it's easier to just leave than it is to face the doubt, overcome the doubt, and become who you need to become. And hopefully what I just read helps motivate you because we've all been there. We've all done it. And I like what it says. The ones that are in this profession aren't the ones that may not always be the best. It's just that we are persistent and we keep trying. So imagine some of the rookies that are overwhelmed with doubt that decide to leave because they just can't get past it. Maybe there is potential, but unfortunately we'll never know because they've gotten so overwhelmed with self-doubt that they wind up not forgiving themselves. And that's what may push them out of this profession. So hopefully this plays out at the right moment. As always, guys, the show is taped. If you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. Bell's going to notify every time I post a video. Stay safe.